From Simcoe North.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Education. Minister, we will be supporting Bill 103 in second and third readings, okay? Minister, today, with the passage of Bill 103, we will only put a finger in the dam. It's simply a Band-Aid, and you know that. Since last September, the two-tiered disaster Bill 122 has seen virtually no bargaining take place with any results. It's been simply a process of finger-pointing with no leadership taking place at your ministry. September the 8th is only 102 days away, and that's when the kids go back to school. Turmoil is about to break out. Since September 1st of 2014, 268 days have passed, and all we can say is that back-to-work legislation will pass to work today. That's all we've got. So, Minister, do you believe Bill 122 is good legislation for the education sector in our province? Bill 122.
Thank you. Minister?
Yes, I do, and it's interesting. I mean, the party opposite was against Bill 122 in the first place. The Labour Relations Board actually said that the interpretation that the government had of the legislation was the correct interpretation all along. But what I find really surprising is this government, or this party, is that campaigned on getting rid of 10,000 education workers, 22,000 actually, if you did the math carefully. They thought they'd just get rid of people. Is that their solution for how you handle the issues quickly? Because I actually think the way is to use those 102 days, 150 days, and make sure that we get agreements in place before we go back to the school year.
Supplementary.
Well, thank you, Speaker, and back to the Minister. So Patrick Brown and the PC caucus believe that Bill 122 is nothing more than a tool for you to avoid transparent bargaining. With only 102 days before turmoil breaks out in all 72 boards in Ontario.
Stop the clock. Come to order. Please finish.
Thank you, Speaker. We simply cannot see almost 2 million students being faced with education disruptions this September. With all the teacher federations and school boards unanimous in the fact that no bargaining is actually taking place, we are heading for an education tsunami. Will you fix Bill 122 now so that our students, parents, teachers and boards can do what is best for education, and that is simply teach?
Thank you. Minister.
You know, I find it quite fascinating. I followed their leadership campaign pretty closely, and I don't remember Patrick Brown ever having a single thing to say about what education policy would be in Ontario if he happened to be the Premier. Other, of course, on sex ed. We know what he thinks about that. Nothing else. But what I really want to say, Speaker, is that
Good thought. Finish, please.
Yeah, what I really want to talk about is what's happened in the schools this week. The party opposite wants to talk about
Member from Renfrew, second time.
Which they presume will break out in the fall. I presume we're going to negotiate.
Answer.
But I want to talk a little bit more about what went on in the schools this week.
Thank you. Final supplementary.
Thank you very much, Minister. The education turmoil is growing. There are many very disgusted people with the fact that Bill 122 has been a disaster. Here's an email I got this morning. All the teachers, janitors, secretaries, and even the rats and mice are on the verge of walking out in September of this year if this continues to go on. You think a summer of bargaining under the current legislation will result in all boards and federations coming to agreements. Patrick Brown and the PC caucus believe that the next fall will be spent with one back-to-work legislation being introduced after another. Minister, will you show...
Stop the clock. Please, sorry for the interruption.
Thank you, Minister. Minister, will you, Mr. Speaker, thank you. Minister, will you show leadership? Admit the two-tiered system is a complete failure and bring in new legislation that will allow everyone in the education system to bargain in good faith and not disrupt the education of 2 million students next fall.
Thank you. Minister?
Thank you. I don't believe we have a central table for rats and mice, so we won't be bargaining with them. Everybody else, yes. But I want to talk about what happened in the schools yesterday. What happened in the schools yesterday was that the teachers came back to work. And what I've heard, I've had a conversation with the all three school boards this morning, Speaker, and what each and every one of them reported is that our professional teachers were happy to be back in the classroom. Our students were happy to be back in the classroom, and that the teachers were delighted to be able to get back to learning and teaching students. And there is a lot of commitment in each and every classroom in making this school year a success. And passing the legislation this afternoon will ensure that happens.
New question. The Leader